Hi everyone, Fengo here. This isn't a video I thought I'd make, but it's one that I want to make. As most of you don't know, very few of you know, I have multiple sclerosis. If you don't know what that is, it's a disease of the central nervous system, the brain and spinal cord. The immune system attacks and destroys the coating of the nerves. Multiple sclerosis or MS it is a potentially disabling disease. And I'm reading from the Mayo Clinic website here. Signs and symptoms of MS vary widely and depend on the amount of nerve damage and which nerves are affected. Some people with severe MS may lose the ability to walk independently or at all, while others may experience long periods of remission without any new symptoms. I have a cousin that has been in remission for over 20 years. Now, when I was first diagnosed, it was May 2016, and one morning I woke up and my legs didn't feel right. Tried to stand up and walk, and I couldn't. I fell to the floor. I couldn't stand up. I had to crawl into the living room, and when my dad asked why I was crawling, I told him I couldn't walk, and him and my mother rushed over to me, of course. And my dad carried me to the chair, and over the course of the next few hours, I slowly regained my ability to walk. Now, there is no cure for MS. However, treatments can help speed recovery from attacks, modify the course of the disease, and manage symptoms. Now, there are a number of symptoms of multiple sclerosis. Symptoms often affect movement, such as numbness or weakness in one or more limbs that typically occurs on one side of your body at a time, or your legs and trunk. Electric shock sensations that occur with certain neck movements, or tremor, lack of coordination, or unsteady gait. Gait, G-A-I-T, as in the way you walk. Now, I suffer with the tremor, because with multiple sclerosis comes something called essential tremor, or ET, and it's where your hands or whatever shakes uncontrollably. Vision problems are also common, including partial or complete loss of vision, usually in one eye at a time, often with pain during eye movement, prolonged double vision, or blurry vision. MS symptoms may also include slurred speech, fatigue, dizziness, tingling or pain in parts of your body, problems with sexual, bowel, or bladder function. Now, I suffer with the fatigue on a daily basis if I don't have my Adderall. My neurologist prescribed me the Adderall to help me stay awake and give me energy throughout the day. And another thing that comes with MS is forgetfulness and mood swings. I suffer with those two. More so forgetfulness than mood swings. I have trouble remembering things that even happened that day. They have to hold pretty good significance for me to be able to remember it. A couple weeks ago, something happened. I'm not going to say what day, but something happened, and by that night, it had slipped my mind. And it's because of forgetfulness, because of the multiple sclerosis. Disease course. Most people with MS have a relapsing remitting disease course. That's what I have. They experience periods of new symptoms or relapses that develop over days or weeks and usually improve partially or completely. These relapses are followed by quiet periods of disease remission that can last months or even years. I have been in remission for a couple years now. My last relapse was 2018, August 2018. I woke up one morning and my face was numb from right here below my right ear to about half my jaw. And it was not a pins and needles sensation, it was dead numb. And that is very unpleasant. And I didn't sleep on it wrong because when I fell asleep and when I woke up, I was sitting up against the wall. That lasted about 8 hours maybe. And the whole time I was scared that it could have been permanent nerve damage. Thank God it was not permanent nerve damage, it was temporary nerve damage. At least 50% of those with relapsing remitting MS or RRMS eventually develop a steady progression of symptoms with or without periods of remission within 10 to 20 years from disease onset. This is known as secondary progressive MS. The worsening of symptoms usually includes problems with mobility and gait. The rate of disease progression varies greatly among people with secondary progressive MS. Some people with MS experience a gradual onset and steady progression of signs and symptoms without any relapses, known as primary progressive MS or PPMS. The cause of multiple sclerosis is unknown. It's considered an autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system attacks its own tissues. In the case of MS, this immune system malfunction destroys the fatty substance that coats and protects nerve fibers in the brain and spinal cord called myelin. Myelin can be compared to the insulation coating on electrical wires. When the protective myelin is damaged and the nerve fiber is exposed, the messages that travel along that nerve fiber may be slowed or blocked. It isn't clear why MS develops in some people and not others. A combination of genetics and environmental factors appear to be responsible. MS is a hell of a disease. It's scary. There are some complications that can come along with it, such as muscle stiffness or spasms, paralysis, typically in the legs, problems with bladder, bowel, or sexual function, mental changes such as forgetfulness or mood swings, depression, and epilepsy. Even though there is no cure for it, there are treatments that can help control it. Now, when I was in the hospital, they did something called a differential diagnosis. They did tests and ruled out every other possibility until they were left with multiple sclerosis, because there is no certain test for multiple sclerosis. I can't remember all of what they did, but I do remember they did an X-ray, I believe, a ultrasound of my hip to see what was making me limp, and an EEG, which is a scan of the brain, and an MRI, and they did something called a spinal tap or a lumbar puncture. In spinal tap, they remove cerebrospinal fluid from your lower back, and they use a 20 gauge needle. And if you don't know what that is, it is about this long. It's longer than the average pen. It's about twice as long as the average pen. About twice as long as this. I cried when I saw that needle. I caught a glimpse of it out of the corner of my eye. I cried. And it hurt like hell, too. Another thing a doctor might do is evoke potential tests, which record your electrical signals produced by your nervous system in response to stimuli. Now treatments for MS attacks. Corticosteroids, such as oral prednisone, that's what I was taking when I got out of the hospital. 6 for 3 days, then 5 for 3, then 4 for 3 days, and so on. And intravenous methylprednisolone, that's what I was on when I was in the hospital. They're prescribed to reduce nerve inflammation. Another treatment for attacks is plasma exchange or plasmapheresis. A liquid portion of part of your blood is removed and separated from your blood cells. The blood cells are then mixed with a protein solution called albumin and put back into your body. Treatments to modify progression. For primary progressive MS, ocrelizumab or Ocrevus is the only FDA-approved disease-modifying therapy. Now, for RRMS, there are a number of different medications. Interferon beta medications, they're the most commonly prescribed medications. Glutaramyr acetate or Copaxone, or also called Glatopa. That's what I was on for a couple months when I got out of the hospital in 2016. But I had to stop taking it because I couldn't. It was an injection. They gave me an auto-injector, but I couldn't do it. I would sit there with it pressing against. I would sit there with it on my skin with my finger on that button for at least an hour, hesitating to press that button. I couldn't do it. Oral treatments include fingolimod or Gilenya, dimethylfumarate, Tecfidera, diroximel Vumerity, teriflunomide or Begio, siponimod, Mazint, cladribine, Mavenclad. Infusion treatments include ocrelizumab, Ocrevus, that's what I'm taking now. I go January 27th, tomorrow, to get the second half of my first dose. And Ocrevus is the only DMT approved by the FDA to treat both RRMS and PPMS. It's given intravenous by medical professional. Sorry. Other infusions are natalizumab or Tysabri, alemtuzumab, Campatha or Lemtrada. Now, for the first half of the dose, January 13th, I had a mild infusion reaction. My nose right around here kept itching and it would not stop. And that might seem silly, but itching like that is a sign. Well, it is an infusion related reaction. And another reaction I had was a quickened heart pace, a rapid heartbeat. But we're thinking that was because of the medicine they gave me before they started the infusion. But it went fine. I wore a mask, of course, and I'm really looking forward to the day I officially start feeling the effects of the Ocrevus. But multiple sclerosis is very scary because I don't know when my next relapse could happen. It could happen any moment. It could happen here in the next 5 minutes. I don't know. Even on medicine, you can still get a relapse because the medicines they don't stop a relapse from happening. They don't stop it, and they don't make the disease go away. They're just to help control symptoms. So I still live with the fear that I could get it. I could have a relapse. And during this pandemic, it's even more scary for not only me but all multiple sclerosis patients, because especially those that are on Ocrevus, because Ocrevus weakens the immune system a little bit. But I live in fear every single day that I could get the coronavirus. Even more fear now that I'm on the Ocrevus. But it's very scary. I wear a mask everywhere I go, yes, and I follow all the CDC guidelines and everything like that, but I'm still scared I could get it. I'm still terrified I could get it. I live with that fear every day. So, people, please wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, do everything you can to keep not only yourself safe, but me safe and everyone else around you safe. It pisses me off when I see someone not wearing a mask, not social distancing, or doing things that could put themselves or others in danger of getting the coronavirus. Or when I see someone not wearing a mask correctly. But this is scary. This pandemic and this virus and multiple sclerosis, it's all scary. It scares the hell out of me. But please, people, be safe. For those around you and yourself. And as Dog Bomb said about ALS, MS can kiss my fuzzy butt.